Hi, everybody. We are back again one day after the Passion, Purpose, Prosperity Summit, giving you a little bit more power, a little bit more volume. My special guest, CEO of OwnItCoaching.com, Justin Roethlingshoefer. Did I butcher your name or did I get it
No,
okay?
you got it. You nailed it.
Got it. Yes. Justin is back. His information, as you saw during the summit, was absolutely on fire. Let's get you on screen, Justin. And so he agreed to just give so much value and come on live today for this Q&A because we know you had lots of lingering questions. So Justin, welcome back. Thank you so much. I also have some friends joining me backstage, Dr. Jania Klingenberg, Liz Carpenter of Liz Carpenter Poetry, Josh Black of Ascension Created, Maria of Manifest with Maria, and as I said already, Justin Roethlingshoefer. Am I getting it right?
It's a mouthful. I'll give it to you. It's a mouthful.
Give it to me. You tell us, Justin, how to say it properly, because I'm sorry if I'm butchering it.
Just think about like a chauffeur, like you're driving somebody around. So Roethlingshoefer.
See, when you say it, you make it easy. Roethlingshoefer. Hi, Justin Roethlingshoefer. Welcome back to the Passion, Purpose, Prosperity after party, if you will.
I love it.
How are you
Thank
doing
you
today?
for having me. I'm great. I was up early, flew home from 2 keynotes this week. So I was in Iowa and then was in Chicago. Got home this morning at around 8 a.m. back to Miami. So we're rock and rolling.
Oh my gosh. So with that schedule, which sounds absolutely nuts, I'm sure you have to make health and wellness a priority to keep your battery charged. How do you not collapse? Because I wanted you to do a Q&A earlier in the week and you told me, nope, I'm on a plane at that time. Can't do this on a plane at that time. So if you're flying, you're doing keynotes, you're working constantly like most entrepreneurs are. How do you manage the stress? How do you stay healthy and on top of your game?
It's such an awesome question. And this is, to be honest with you, I think one of the biggest things that makes us different from a lot of other health and wellness companies out there, not to mention that we do your cellular testing, your DNA testing, your blood testing, and guide you through. But it's not just about getting supplements. It's not just about getting a workout program. It's not just about getting a nutrition plan. It's okay, how do I now create frameworks that are going to work for me? How do I create frameworks that are sustainable? And I literally live this. I have coaches on my team that work not just for me in the business, but for me, like on me. And a perfect example is when I get up first thing in the morning, I'll take you through my kind of day. On Monday, I woke up, I had a 7 o'clock flight. So I was up at 4:30. 4:30, I came into this room right here. I got a bunch of red lights over here. I didn't see the sunrise because it was too early. So I came in here, was in front of red lights. I did breathing for 5 minutes. I did my prayer work. I showered. I got my clothes on. I went out, stepped into the plane, had my bag packed the night before, had a couple pieces of fruit and some nuts in my bag. That's what I took. I ate as a snack. I landed. I got to my hotel room, and the hotel I chose had a gym and a sauna and a steam room in it. So as soon as I got there, I got 30 minutes of exercise in. I went immediately into the steam room for about 5, came out, showered, and went to hit my keynote at 4 o'clock at night. And you just feel good. You're ready. You're ready to go. I came out of my keynote. I had dinner, went to bed, woke up the next day, got a workout in, caught a noon flight, landed in Chicago, and same thing, got right to the hotel, had lunch right there. And then this morning, as I woke up super early, again, my flight was at, I think, 5 o'clock this morning. It was ugly. But as soon as I woke up at the hotel, got onto the plane, did my breath work, had a little nap on the plane. As soon as I landed here in Miami, got back to the house and got a 30-minute workout in and have been working throughout the afternoon. So it's just living intentionally. It's having a plan. When you don't have a plan, everything is just so random and scattered. And if you looked at my calendar, you would realize really quickly what my priorities were, because I say, look at your calendar, I'll tell you what your priorities are. And you can actually see that my trips are planned, my sauna time's planned, my workout time's planned, my time to prepare for the plane is planned. It's scheduled in a way so I can be intentional and ultimately live with the energy that's necessary.
Wow.
Wow.
So you plan out your days basically every day, and that's how you can maintain this schedule of almost impossible amounts of work to get done.
So I don't like the word plan, because if somebody sits here and goes like, oh my gosh, like that's so much planning, it feels like you're just like a robot. It's regimented. That's not the case at all. There's a lot of things that shift and move that go around. And I think when people think consistency, they think perfection, and I'm not close to perfect, but I'm extremely consistent. And that's why I yield the results and the energy that I do have. But what I get to is, so once a week, every Sunday, my wife and I sit down and we take a look at our week and we say, hey, is there anything that's pressing? Is there anything that's changing? Is there anything we have to be aware of? Is there anything that's not on the calendar that we don't know about? And usually the answer is no. And then every Friday, I have a 30-minute meeting with my assistant first thing in the morning to change anything for the upcoming week. So by the time Sunday hits, everything is already set. And to be honest with you, the majority of my days all look the same. Like when I'm at home, the days are all the same. Wake up at 5:30. I've got my outdoor time. I've got my prayer time. I've got my workout. I got my sauna. I got my my meditation workouts, whatever it is that I'm doing. And then I'm working by 7:30, 8 o'clock. Like that's,
Wow.
It really doesn't change ever. So there's not a lot of planning. And then my flight, when I go on a trip, my framework is always the same. It's literally just a habit. I have one framework. What do I do when I get on a plane? And it's just a habit that's become ingrained in me. So it's not all that much planning. It's just like somebody who has kids. If you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you manage their schedule. Well, it's really not all that difficult once you get into the rhythm of what it looks like, but you have to take charge of what that rhythm is, because if you don't, it's chaos all the time. And so the same thing is with you, and it starts with you, quite frankly, because there will be a certain time where you don't have anything left to give if that's not prioritized.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
I have a quick question. You mentioned that the sauna is part of your daily routine, basically. And I'm wondering, I like steam rooms and saunas because they just feel good, but is there a tangible health benefit to using a sauna?
Big time. Big time. So when you go into a sauna, there's something called heat shock proteins that are released. And those heat shock proteins ultimately go and eat or kill blood cells and mitochondria that are just ready to die, that are kind of just falling off. And instead of staying just barely alive and creating toxicity within the rest of the body, they actually get killed off and eliminated in your sweat. And so not only is it great for reduction of aging, extreme heat exposure, but it's also unbelievable for your immune system.
Really?
Wow.
I never knew. I just think it feels
I
good.
didn't know that.
Dr. J, did you have
Well, there's a
question?
reason that it feels good.
Wow.
Well, there's Bikram yoga, right?
Same concept when
Yeah.
you're in a elevated heated room. Same thing.
That's amazing. I knew that like the sauna like released like toxins from your body, but I didn't realize it was at the mitochondrial level. Like I didn't realize it was like that deep, because I like heat, but I can't take the sauna for so long. And plus natural hair, right? So my question about that in particular, because I have a hot tub here that I get into periodically, but what can I do to still get those benefits, and how long do I need to be in the, like maybe the hot tub or the sauna in order to get that reaction, through my sweat, for it to kill things?
Yeah, that's a good
so
question.
I would take a look at a few different things. So number one is you do have to be exposed to higher levels of heat, extreme levels of heat that take us out of our comfort zone sometimes. So if our hair is an issue and we don't want to get into a steam room that'll make it go all frizzy and crazy, And a sauna, a traditional sauna, like a barrel sauna that gets up to like 180, 190 degrees. If that's not kind of your jam, I really suggest an infrared sauna, which it's a different kind of heat. It heats you kind of from the inside out. And that's a little bit more gentle feeling, but it still produces the same results. Just takes a little bit longer. So in a traditional sauna, you could be in that for somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. Traditionally, when you're using sauna, you want to shoot for 90 minutes a week. And if you're then in a infrared sauna, because it takes a little bit longer to heat you up, I would say somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes a day. If you're going to use a hot tub or even like a really hot bath, what you'll notice is that you just start kind of sweating on the outside. It's not really getting you to the temperature level that's necessary to start killing off some of those cells. So you won't get the benefit that sauna does, but again, you'll still be able to increase perspiration, which will eliminate some toxicity, but just not quite to the level of what sauna will. The last thing, and I will mention this, that you can do that also helps at the mitochondrial level in the same way is red light. So some form of like infrared light, and standing in front of that for somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes will have unbelievable longevity benefits.
I am so glad to hear that, because I just bought a red light machine and my husband laughs at me because he thinks I just am up for any gimmick that comes on the market. But I have read good things and you're confirming my suspicion. So thank you, Justin. Wow. I wanted to ask you another question that came up after the summit. You mentioned, which shocked me and shocked our audience, that 85% of entrepreneurs suffer from some chronic type of illness. Because of the amount of stress we have, probably because of the schedules, because we're constantly dealing with problem solving and the unknown. Help us out, Justin. What can entrepreneurs do that is specific to get into better health and take better care of ourselves, not kill ourselves in the process?
Yeah, so I mean, number one is just being aware of it. And I think oftentimes we wear this badge of honor of just working hard and grinding it out and pushing through a lot of things. And when we do that, we often forget that our body keeps the score and we're trading something for something else. And I'm not saying that we don't need to work hard. I'm not saying that it's not great to push the limits. I'm not saying that at all. I partake in that a lot. But the other thing I also partake in is ensuring that what I've depleted, I also fill back up, which is why I'm able to take more ground. I'm able to do more. I'm able to seemingly have an engine that doesn't stop. But I'm no different than anybody else. I'm not a Superman. I'm not special by any means. I'm just like everybody on this call. I'm just like everybody watching. I just choose to live a little bit differently. Yeah.
I mean, well, you choose to live richly and in such a way that you can kind of burn the candle at both ends and meet.
But here's the thing is that's available to anybody. I'm not doing anything that's not available to anybody. I'm not making decisions that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not for me to get up and watch the sunrise in the morning and watch the sunset at night, that's free to everybody. For me to do breath work before I get on a plane, that's free to everybody. For me to go to a sauna and to do stretching in the sauna, that's free if it's available to you. If not, it's maybe $50 a month at a membership somewhere. All of these things that you can do that quite frankly are free to you is just a matter of choosing to lean into that. And the stat that I had shown was that your body doesn't know the difference between mental, physical, spiritual, emotional stress. That chronic stress leads to chronic inflammation. The chronic inflammation leads to symptoms that we continually ignore because that's what it takes to be a business owner, because that's what it takes to be a parent and an entrepreneur. That's what it requires to hit $1 million business. That's what 50 looks like. All of these excuses that the world tells us, and those symptoms lead to chronic illness, and chronic illness kills 71% of Americans, but 85% of entrepreneurs. And so the percentage is higher in entrepreneurs because we just have failed to manage our stress levels and what we're taking. And I want to quantify stress here for you guys, because when I say this, people are like, well, I'm not stressed. It's not stress that we're sometimes aware of. And when we think about stress, it's stress can often be a blessing. It could be a vacation. It could be seeing your family more often. It could be building a house. It could be doing renovations on a home. It could be starting a new business. It could be expanding a business. It could be purchasing a new vehicle. All of these things are stressors that even though you don't account for, your body's ultimately keeping the score. And so when your cup is continually filling up, I know I showed this example on the call, but when your cup is slowly filling up higher and higher and higher, if we don't have holes in that cup to start allowing it to drain, we can't take on more. And so that's the big thing, is that we have to provide solutions for ourselves to put holes back into that cup that are personable to us, that are meaningful to us, that are sustainable for us, that can be done long term. Because so often we go and grab something just because somebody else is doing it. Oh, that's what it takes to be a millionaire. No, that's a lie. That's what it required for them to get there, because that felt good for them. Let's figure out what is necessary for you. Let's establish this. Let's set some boundaries around this. And remember, everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else.
I like that. Really, really powerful advice. I know Maria had a question she wanted to ask you. So I think we're going to talk about your coaching business now. And
Yeah.
Maria, Manifest with Maria. Have at it.
Sorry. Trying to talk while not cutting you off, but cutting you off anyway. So Justin, Roethlingshoefer. Love the last name. Justin, how did you start your 7-figure coaching business?
Yeah, this is a great story. So I had a 15-year career in the NHL, and a lot of people are like, well, I didn't have that. That wasn't something that I'm going to get to that question in a second. That one about turning fear into a positive thought. I can't wait to dive into that. But going back to your question. So yes, I had a career in the NHL. But when I left in 2020, it was just like anything else, choosing to go away from something that was like set and done for something that I knew that I was meant to do. And so left Anaheim, California, went to New York City. And to be honest with you, I had the framework of what I wanted to build, but I didn't know who I was going to get in. So for 4 months, I did 2 things. I printed flyers, told people what I was going to do, the blood work we were going to do, the testing we were going to do, the technology we're going to use, their outcomes. And every morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., I would stand out front of luxury apartment buildings and luxury condos in New York City, in Manhattan. And I would hand these out to the people coming out, assuming they were wealthy people, entrepreneurs, and just literally handing them out to them. And I got a phone call here or there. I got an email. I got a lot of people telling me to go take a hike. And I ultimately started to generate clients, 3, 4, 5, 6, turned into 60. And so literally just standing out in front. And the second thing was from 9 a.m. until noon, I would spend time creating personalized video messages to entrepreneurs, business owners, and executives on LinkedIn, and just start to facilitate relationships, start to facilitate conversation. And literally within 9 months, had surpassed 6 figures, was into multiple 6 figures, and very quickly had to start hiring a team and some other people to start exercising this whole thing. So it started extremely grassroots.
Wow. I love that nitty gritty no excuses, print off flyers, grassroots effort to start a business. Like, we have to stop with the excuses that prevent us from jumping in and serving the way we know we were meant to serve, and just do it. So I love that.
And Candy, here's the other thing is a lot of people say, well, now that you're like multiple 7, closing in on 8, what do you do now? And I was like, to be honest with you, I still go back to those grassroots. It's still so much fun because it's just how you connect. And so I was down here in Miami, just passing out flyers to at a marathon 2 weeks ago. And they're not talking to me anymore when they make the call or they book. They're talking with our team, but passing out flyers. If I literally shared screen with you right now, I think we have close to 300 conversations going on in LinkedIn. That's literally how the 2 talks I just did. That's how I got those 2 talks booked. $14,000 in speaking fees in a week, just in creating relationship through LinkedIn. And it's not being salesy. It's not going up and saying, hey, can we get on a call and connect with you? I can't stand it on LinkedIn when I get these automated, hey, Justin, no, you're busy, but it's like creating true, genuine engagement, like truly wanting to know like who this person is. What are you guys having? What are you guys doing? What are you guys all about? What are you engaging in? Where are you, like, what's your family all about? What are you struggling with? And having true conversation. And lo and behold, you get calls booked and you are able to serve people in a really genuine and honest way.
So one of the things with you, Justin, is, we talk to a lot of people, and with you, I feel like you're super generous, super giving, kind, and then there's not like a snooty tone at all. And I say that because there are people who are very successful out here who do, and you don't. And I feel that when you're saying, giving, being out there with the people, making those connections, I do get that from you. So I do appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Maria. It's something that I take great pride in, because I've always said that, look, you look at somebody and you're like, wow, they're successful. Like, I want to be like that. And no matter what level you get to, you're always striving to get somewhere else. And I remember when I was looking up at somebody with a 6-figure business, 7-figure business, 8-figure business, going, man, I want to get there. And every step of the way, I've always come back to like, be grateful for where you are. Be grateful that you can have an impact on somebody, because you don't know when you answer a question, when you give somebody time, when you give somebody attention, how you can truly change their life. We have clients who are doing 10 figures in their business and are miserable and are absolutely just in the dumps, and came to us and we were able to change their lives and turn it around. And I take great pride in that. But the only way you're able to do that, the only way you're really able to get to somebody, to serve somebody, is to create a relationship. And yes, I understand the body in a unique way. Yes, I've been able to create systems around it a unique way, but I think my true superpower and something I'm most proud of from a skill set is caring for people and building relationships. And if there's a skill set that anybody out there right now can continue to hone while building your business, it's authentic, genuine relationship building, because it will only serve you as you continue to move forward. Anything that I have, anything that we've built, has always come from a relationship.
So good. I want to type fire emojis like Audrey did, but I don't know how to type on here. So fire emojis.
I agree. Justin, Josh has a question for you. So Josh, I'm going to put you full screen.
Justin, you've talked about consistency, and that helps us do all the small little things that we need to do to get the results we want. But sometimes that's hard to maintain. So what's your best tip for being consistently consistent?
So I think, Josh, I touched on this earlier, is it all comes back to people's definition of consistent. And to be honest with you, I had worked with a couple of MLB players, and I had a conversation with them just this week, and their definition of consistent was perfection. And I think that's a lot of our definitions of consistent is perfection. And when you have a definition of perfection, it actually holds you back from trying. And so to shift the mindset around what consistency means, it's consistency is willing to try. Consistency is willing to listen. Consistency is willing to be obedient. You have to realize that if you haven't gone to the gym and you go 3 days a week, that's consistent. If you all of a sudden are taking 4 trips this month and you get 60% of your travel framework in, that's consistent. You're consistently growing, you're consistently working, you're consistently trying, you're consistently learning. And it doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you have to have the perfect week. I hate the perfect morning formula. I hate the perfect week. I hate the perfect day. I hate it's setting us up for this feeling of it's setting us up for this feeling of insignificance, or that we're not good enough, or that we're not worth it, or that we aren't good enough, or that we're not far enough along, or that we can't do it. And it creeps in these thoughts of negativity, where if you can come into this being willing to lean into this level of consistency that does not mean perfection, that has room for error, that allows you to be you, that allows you to be human, but always comes back to, hey, I am willing to try. I am willing to lean in. You're going to come out on top at the end of the day, because I remember sitting back in New York City and wrote down on this 3-year plan of what I wanted to build. And I had zero. I had nothing at the time. I was unemployed. And I quit my job. And I was sitting there and I was like, this is what I want to build. And it started with literally making one decision to go out and be out on the street and handing these out. And I said I was going to be consistent with it. Did I do it every day? No. Did I do it consistently? Yes, because over the course of 6 months, there were very few days that I missed, but there were times where I wasn't out there. There were times where I had a bad day. There were times where I wasn't feeling well. There was times where I was just depressed and angry because it wasn't moving fast enough. There were times where I was self-doubting myself. There were times where I thought I was an idiot and it was raining and I had just gotten yelled at by an old man who was just bitter. And I was like, hey, I'm going back inside. I didn't win the day, but I've been consistent because I'm willing to try and go back again the next day. And look, 3 years later, where we are, only because I've been consistently consistent.
Wow. So such powerful advice. I know there are people out there who are in the position you were in just a few years ago, unemployed or underemployed. You're working a job, it's not satisfying, or you're grinding through a business, but barely paying the bills. And I think this is such powerful advice because you have to be willing to do the thing outside your comfort zone. We talked about that before too. You have to be willing to fully commit and do the thing that pushes you into full commitment, that pushes you into no excuses. Like I said yesterday, you want to take the island, you got to burn the boats. And I love that you're a living example of that. Someone who's got an 8-figure company now. So for everybody out there who's a coach or starting a new business or wanting to grow your business, you really can start from scratch and make $10 million helping people doing what you love. In the 2 minutes we have left, Justin, do you have any final thoughts? Or Anna Ramona Tolentino, my gorgeous big sister, asked a question earlier. I'm going to put it back on the screen.
I'll expand for a little bit here.
Okay.
I've got about another 10 minutes, so I can I can hold for you. Sorry, what was the next question?
So we wanted to circle back to Anna's question before. She was saying, do you have any specific suggestions for people who are under huge amounts of stress and anxiety to try to turn that into a positive and not let it erode our health and especially our mental health?
I'll take a little bit of a spiritual side here. So fear and anxiety simply come from a state of separation from what it is we're truly called to do. And if you come back to what you're truly called to do, what is your purpose? What is your passion? What are you wanting to lean into? fear, doubt, and anxiety all go away. And if you come in here and you say, and you truly understand that no positive thought comes from God, no positive thought comes from the one who made you. Negative thoughts, or pardon me, only positive thoughts come from the one who made you. No negative thoughts come from God. Negative thoughts come from the enemy. They want to separate you from that calling. They want to separate you from being willing to try. They want to separate you from being willing to lean in. And so for every negative thought I have, for every piece of anxiety I have, I'm grateful. I'm extremely grateful. Why? Because when I have a negative thought, it tells me that I'm on the right path. It tells me that I'm doing something that is truly in my calling, truly what I've been obedient to and what I've been called to, and the enemy doesn't like that. And so when I remind myself, hey, the negative thought is not from God, the negative thought is not from me, the negative thought is from the enemy, I laugh, I come back to what I'm being called to, I come back to my purpose, I come back to my mission, I come back to a state of gratitude, and I carry on. And so realizing that no thought is from God, no negative thought is really true. And the last thing is, don't listen to yourself. Talk positively to yourself. All self-talk is all self-talk is negative. It's not true. Talk to yourself. Don't listen.
I love that. Thank you so much. I know Dr. Jania has another question, so have at it, Miss J.
Hey, so I'm like rambling my brain here because like I really love what you're saying because I'm very spiritual and I'm also very conscientious about my health. So my question is, how do I get back on track? So I was 146 pounds, and I lost weight after my first daughter, and my daughter's about to be 4 this year. It is so much harder for me to get the weight back off than I did because I'm 48 now, and I know my body's different. How do I guess restart, because I'm a researcher by nature, so I'm aware of like all my vitamins, the things that I need to have in order to absorb something, and what not to take with it in order for it to to make sure it has a benefit to your body. Like what would you suggest for I'm not 50 yet, but I'm 48. My body's different. I am health conscientious. I don't eat meat. If I do, I eat like chicken. And I'm keen on what I'm supposed to be doing, but I have to get that motivation back to do some of the physical things, because I put in the messages in the chat that I literally just made the decision this week, going to see my doctor about making these changes, like going in consistently full throttle to try to make these changes, because I'm not comfortable in my body. I'm aching, I'm paining, my feet are hurting, my knees are hurting, and this is all since I had my daughter. It's gotten much worse because I'm heavier. And I want to lose weight, but I want to be healthy first. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course. What do you think,
There we
Justin?
go. I had to unmute. Sorry.
No
yes, I totally hear what you're saying. So I want to refute and cancel some of the language. Number one is the human body is the human body. It's just because you're 40, just because you're 50, just because you're 60 doesn't mean it becomes any harder. I've seen a lot of really fit 60-year-olds that are fitter than a 35-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I often make this statement, and because we feel like age has something to do with it, we feel that
yeah, I mean, Justin, to be honest, yes, most of us do believe that with age it's harder to lose weight.
It's
and
just
your body hurts more, so help us.
It's just not true. I mean, I often say, and this is not a cultural thing, but do you see overweight people in Ethiopia? Do you see overweight people in Italy? It doesn't exist. Why? I know that there's not overweight 48 people in those countries, because it's a way that it comes back to our habits and behaviors. So if we think about, it's not 48 that's the issue, it's the exchange of a habit or the exchange of a behavior that we've done since we've turned 48 or since we've had our child. Oh, I didn't realize and didn't make the connection that I was actually going to the gym regularly before I had my child, but now after, I've chosen to drive them to piano and soccer practice and sit on the sidelines and drink my mochaccino. And that's why it's harder to lose weight. And so when we start to identify back to the true reason and true cause as to why, that's the issue. It's not that you're 48. It's not you're 58. It's not that you're 68. It just has to do with the lifestyle and behavior choices that we've decided to ultimately lean into. And so, Dr. J, coming back to you, is number one is I would find a coaching team. Own It's a great place to start to not only one, help you take responsibility, but two, create accountability. I believe these are the two things that both have to be present for you to create any type of sustainable change. Right. Taking responsibility and having the accountability team there to make sure that that happens. And when you're able to do that, you'll move forward in a powerful way. Now, will we run hormone tests? Will we look at cellular and metabolic balances to create really personalized solutions? Yes. But there's certain habit changes that foundationally have to be added and held accountable to see the changes that you're ultimately looking for.
Okay.
Is there a certain program? I'm sorry. Is there a certain program or something like when I call or contact you that I'll ask about? Or sorry, I'm outside. You hear the birds.
No, I love the birds. Love the birds.
I love being outside. That's why I really like connected with you. You were saying about being outside, because if I'm nowhere else, I'm outside walking or doing something like that. Because I just love connecting with nature. But is there a particular program that you all have that?
Yeah, so I would, when you reach out, you can just email my team. It's just my name, Justin R, at ownitcoaching.com, and just say you're interested in the Emergence program, EMMERGENC.
Okay.
I'm putting that in the chat.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Chat. Thanks, Dr. J. I have a question. Speaking of hormones, so when the big scandal happened, was that last year at the Oscars with the slap and Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, I had to personally chuckle a little bit because I've been suffering with alopecia my whole life, like not my whole life, since I was about early 20s. Large swaths of my hair would fall out. And so it's just been a magic trick all of these years, like trying to tease it and using this supplement and that supplement to try to keep my hair from completely falling out. But I have a ton of hair loss, alopecia. And I've noticed with age, or at least I thought that it's increased with age, could be a lot of other factors, like being a mom now, crazy schedule, neglecting myself, etc. But can you help? I'm not the only one dealing with hormonal changes and hair loss. Any thoughts about that or help for that?
Yeah, so hormonal changes are real. As we age, certain things happen, but the outcomes that are a result of them are not directly correlated always just simply to the hormone release. We have to come back to, and there was a study that was done by Holmes and Rahi, and it looks at the life stress inventory. And ultimately what ends up happening is you go through this inventory, and we do it at Own It. It's something that we use to help analyze how somebody's living. And I know I talked earlier about how oftentimes there's things that are very positive in our life, but they're still stressful, like vacations, major holidays, change in social activities. Are we going to more movies, more clubs? Are we doing more things with the kids, or the kids changing school, changing residences, all these types of things? They're all life stressors that ultimately impact us. And what they found was that if you had a score of 150 or greater, you had a 50% chance of an increased health-related issue in the next 2 years. And if you scored over 300, you had an 80% chance of a health-related issue over the next 2 years. And so what we've done is this is something that we utilize in this. And so when you come back to alopecia, or you come back to any, and I'll take alopecia as we can insert any said issue, any autoimmune disorder. Somebody might say, I get chronic cold sores. Somebody else might say, I get insomnia. Somebody else might say, I get eczema, or I get rashes. I get hives. Like,
are these all immunity issues? Like,
they're all
allergies?
they're all autoimmune things, all stress related. And so the reason that so what I'm trying to get at here is your symptom and what you experience is alopecia. Somebody else might experience rashes. Somebody else might experience eczema. Somebody else might experience chronic headaches and insomnia. This is just how your body responds to being overflowing in that cup, meaning that it can't take on any more stress. And that's the reaction to it. And so the core root of this is all very similar. I'm not saying it's the same, but it all stems from how is your body adapting and ultimately moving through these stressful situations. And now how can we create solutions that are unique to you based on your unique lifestyle that you're trying to live and the stressors that you're uniquely exposed to. And so to answer that question, it's like we have to truly get down to, hey, what are you going through? What are you being exposed to? And how do we then mitigate some of those? How do we add more holes to your bucket in a personable way that is really targeting the alopecia for you? It's crazy when people come in and they're complaining of, again, somebody who had terrible eczema, and they went to their doctor, they got all the creams in the world, they've been on all the little meds, and within 3 months, we've completely cleared it up, and
Wow.
they think that it's magic. Well, it's not magic. We just helped reverse a lot of the stress reactions that are chronically going on in your body. And we basically took your cup and just poured a lot of the water out so that your body can now do it. Did I cure you forever? No, because if you go right back to what you were doing before, 8 months down the road, you might come back with the exact same issues. And so we have to teach, and it's a learning curve of empowering you to make different decisions. When we talk about living different, feeling different, thinking different, looking different, it all starts with choosing different. Like, different is a sacred word to me, because we have to do different things to get different results. And it often comes back to just how we're living.
Sacred. That was the operative word from what you said. Like, this really is sacred information. And you can help us with all the, you test for all of our hormonal imbalances and all that with your company.
Yeah. So we'll do all the hormone testing, all the cellular testing. We'll create custom supplementation for you. We'll create your custom nutrition plans. We'll create your custom training programs, exercise programs. We'll create the travel frameworks like I talked about to help you establish better routines for when you're traveling, for when you're going to sleep, for when you're waking up. So it literally is something that you can take ownership of, and that you will be able to truly live differently. You'll have your accountability team. You'll have your coaches literally at your disposal, in your pocket, to be able to help drive and make sure that you're successful in this. But most importantly is truly just helping you to live a different life that is purposeful and actionable to you at the end of the day.
Yes, Justin Roethlingshoefer. I love it. And I'm all about living on purpose and living our best lives. And too many of us are encumbered with illnesses, eczema, like you said, autoimmune issues, sleep issues, and something blocking us from optimal performance. So I love that you're doing this. We're going to do a follow-up workshop, like a big one. We're going to invite everybody we know. So if you have more questions, get in touch, email me, DM me. Does anyone have anything they want to ask Justin before? I know you have to jam in 30 seconds. Does anybody have a follow-up question? Or should we just say, yes, Liz does?
I do, but I think maybe it'd be more appropriate to ask it when you have a workshop, because I wanted to ask about what he does as far as people's mental health, because most of the people around me are suffering from anxiety and depression. And I know about herbs and stuff, but I'm kind of at a loss there with the mental health and spiritual health thing, but he seems like he really has a grasp on that.
I love it. I'll dive in onto this because I truly, let me back up. So when I first started, and I've been deep into the mental and spiritual components for a long time, and it's something that I had brought into a lot of my players when I was in the NHL, and something that I started to bring to our one-on-one clients. But there was a little bit of like a disconnect for some of them. They weren't really willing to step into it. There was sometimes they needed a different voice. And so when it was probably 2.5, 3 years ago when we just started the business, I said, what if we brought in a mental performance coach for one of these guys? And we had them start to talk about the real things that were going on that were holding them back and the thoughts and beliefs that were existing there. And as soon as we were able to establish a change in beliefs and a change in thought patterns, results started to do this. And it got us thinking, well, there's something here. And so when you work with us, even within Own It, is you're going to work with two types of coaches. You're going to have an inner energy coach and you're going to have an outer energy coach. So your inner energy coach is that mental performance therapist. It's that person who works on everything mental, emotional, and spiritual to be able to identify what's actually happening and the barriers that exist to being able to lean into the habits and behaviors that we're trying to get. Because everybody knows what to do, but what is stopping you? What trauma have you been through? What belief do you have? What have you been taught as a child? What barrier has been built up over experiences in your life that is holding you back from allowing these two to meet in the middle, from allowing you to like lean in and actually eat the foods that you want to, or for you to even start to try to go to the gym. And so once we can take captive those thoughts, it ultimately renews your heart. It purifies those emotions and it helps all of those things to completely dissipate. The structure that we kind of have with this is kind of twofold. Number one is with Own It in our world, we say spiritual leads to mental, leads to emotional, leads to physical, and true health, true soul health. We believe we're a bunch of souls having a human experience. Soul health is all about the spirit, the mind, the heart, and the body. And so right here, when we can attach to something that is of more purposeful meaning and your identity can be ultimately cured to what you're truly wanting, it ultimately purifies the mind, which changes your thoughts and beliefs. And that inner energy coach is going to work to get clear on what that spiritual connection is, what you're called to, what your identity is, so that we can ultimately change your thought and belief patterns. When we can change your thought and belief patterns, that will ultimately purify the heart, which will change your emotions. It'll take them from anxiety and put them into excitement. It'll take you from depression and put you into motivation. It'll take you from fear and put you into action. And then lastly, that impacts the body, the habits, the behaviors, and the lifestyle, which is all looked after by the outer energy coach. The world tells us to take a bottom-up approach. Says, hey, you have to go into this sauna. You have to go and do this workout. You have to get the 6-pack abs. You have to lose 25 pounds, which leads us to a state of fear, leads us to a state of anxiety, leads us to a state of confusion, which thus changes our thoughts and beliefs to doubt. I'm not worth it. I can't do that. Oh, I remember I failed in the past and I don't want to be a failure, which separates us from our calling, going back to what I talked about before. And so the Own It approach is that top-down approach, spirit, mind, heart, and body, versus the worldly approach of body, heart, mind, spirit. And so we've kind of turned everything on its head. And anytime people work with us in Emergence, in any of our programming, you always have these two people, the inner energy coach, the outer energy coach. We collaborate them together to create truly a holistically integrated health experience that looks after everything when it comes to health.
I love it. Holistic health is what we all need. Thank you so much, Justin. Do you want to say anything now before you have to pop off about the workshop we're going to do where we take an audience participant, right? And we're going to help them discover what their health issues are in real time, or you tell them, and then I know you have to go.
Yeah, we're Candy and I are working on a workshop for everybody, just to kind of, again, just serve a little bit more in a unique way, and just be able to give you guys some type of action steps, action plans, but also expose you a little bit more to the work that we do, to be able to see, hey, how is this? What does this really look like? How can I take myself from this space of fake health to true health and realize it in my life? And so, if you guys are interested in this, if you guys are wanting to lean in, like I said, I truly suggest that you go to ownitcoaching.com, reach out. Our team is, I can't say enough about our team. Our team is world-class. The coaches you're working with, they're not health coaches. The coaches you're working with are functional medicine doctors. They're registered dietitians. They're registered cognitive behavioral therapists, like real educated, real special people that care and will build relationship and take you to where you want to go. And the foundation of our company, which was built on relationship, built on real results. I'm just so excited and proud that we've been able to maintain that through our scale.
Thank you so much, Justin Roethlingshoefer. You're awesome. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. We were supposed to go for 30 minutes and you gave us so much more. Thank you. You can find him at ownitcoaching.com. And stay tuned because we're going to do a special workshop where we dive much deeper. But thank you, Justin.
You're so welcome.
Liz. Thank you, Dr. J. Thank you, Josh. Thanks, Maria. Manifest with Maria. She had to run. Thanks to my backstage crew and the audience. We love you. People are saying thank you. Thanks, Miss Laurie Bolton.
See you guys.
Thanks. Bye, Justin. Does anybody want to have anything else they want to say or questions while we're still on? Or are we good?
No, that was like absolutely fantastic.
I'm so pleased.
Yeah, I think so. What I really love about him is that he speaks the language of many. It's like he's multilingual. You know what I'm saying? And with me being a mental health professional, I love the fact that he incorporates that in what he does. Because when I work with clients, that's one of the things that I talk to them about is starting from the inside. You have to start from the inside, and having those spiritual beliefs, I believe is really pivotal because it grounds you, in certain areas, and then working your way, you have the top down effect, and I always tell people I'm a top feeder. I start at the top. I'm not perfect. Okay. Of course, as we all are not. But I love that he incorporates all of those things together while you're working on your health. So it's really holistic, like what he's doing.
Amen. I appreciate the same. And that's why I thought he was different. And I was even just on a personal note thinking, I wish I would have run into him before I invested in the 10X health system.
Right.
Because I spent a mint. I can give just a quick, update review of that. Spent about $600, I think it was, for the cellular testing, and I got the supplements about a month and a half ago.
Wow.
That's all.
Wait, this is May.
That's all she gonna say.
This is May.
Yeah, I took the test in February on Valentine's Day. I remember that. And it took about a month to get the results. And the results came back. I wasn't surprised. The results came back saying that I needed some stuff to help with sleep and anxiety. So that was true. And I took the sleep stuff. The supplements weren't too bad, but I spent about $150 getting different supplements. I had Sam E already, or it would have been over $200 a month, maybe for the supply. So it was Sam E and it was probiotics. I'm already taking that and a sleep supplement. And I'll be darned, I've taken double the suggested dose some nights of that sleep supplement. Wow. No, I don't feel any difference yet. Maybe if you I don't know, maybe it takes 3 or 4 or 6 months
to get into your system.
That's not how it was presented but that's
Right.
realistic. So when I met Justin, I was like, oh my gosh, he could have saved me time, energy, and money because he has a much broader approach.
Right, right.
I have to, I'm not supposed to say this, right? But I have to, because I've been having amazing sleep this last week. I didn't even know that I had sleep challenges because I usually wake up and I'm okay, but I don't have insomnia. But I've been waking up like 2 hours before my alarm and rested because I started on fulvic minerals and a zeolite drops. So it's from a specific company, and I didn't want to be like, hey, by the way, buy this stuff. But I wanted you to know that this can help you with your sleep quality.
Text it to me immediately.
I will. And you see, I'm guilty. I gotta say this because I want all of y'all to know. You see, underneath it says founder of Fireworks Health. I started my health coaching business this year, and I don't have a background in health. So I'm just like, his people, you need to see his people. Because I'm going from my personal experimenting with my body and then experimenting with my family, but to actually have the health professionals that understand the anatomy and how everything fires inside the body is completely different. So I need to learn from him.
But you know what? Just like he said, though, like, don't think of it that way, because your experience is your expertise. You know what I'm saying? Because like, that's how I learned. Like, a lot of people come to me asking me about different supplements and things they need to take, and they feeling this way and what should they do. For that same reason, like, I did a lot of research when I first lost the weight after I had my first daughter. And so I learned about, what a lot of people don't know is, in order to absorb vitamin D, you have to have vitamin K. A lot of people don't know that. And so people are taking these 50,000 units of vitamin D because their doctors are telling them that vitamin D deficient, and their hair is falling out. They don't know that's a side effect because they're not told that. And so I had discovered that because I was vitamin D deficient, years ago. And I was like, I'm not taking 50,000 units of nothing, so I did my research, and I was like, no, that you have to do certain things in order for certain supplements to be absorbed in the body. Certain things counteract each other. So I literally started writing charts. Like, I have charts for me and my family of all the things and the deficiencies that we have and what we need to do. It's just hard to stay consistent, which is what he was talking about. Like, right now, before it was me and my daughter, you know what I'm saying? Now it's 4 of us. I'm remarried. I have another baby. I have an 18-year-old and a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, and it's just harder to life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, nothing is happening.
Adulting is hard with multiple children. Come on, let's give ourselves.
It is. It's a lot harder.
It's adulting.
Yeah, but your experience, Liz, is what makes you an expert, because I don't consider myself an expert necessarily, but I know what I know because I've researched it, just like you said. So when people come, and I do tell them, now I ain't, I'm a I have a PsyD. I have a doctorate in clinical psychology. I don't have an MD, but I do have my experience and my research. And I tell them, after I give them the information, now go make sure you make sure that I'm telling you the truth. You can go, research it yourself. And I don't mean just Dr. Google. I'm saying I look at, health journals. I look at, like real research, to support what I'm saying.
Yeah, what your findings are, and not just pseudoscience.
Right. That's like for ADD. I have ADD. I found a supplement called Brain Prep that does the same thing that methylphenidate does. Exact same thing for me that methylphenidate does, but it's a natural supplement. But I had to research.
You're gonna have to text me about that too.
Yes, me too.
We're helping each other here. And anybody at home watching this, feel free to reach out. Do you have health questions? Do you have solutions? Do you have things you've tried and maybe, or things that have been fantastic? Do you have something you're bumping your head against the wall from because it's not working? Or are you like Dr. J and you find that it's much harder in your 40s to lose weight than it was in your 20s? Is it something else? Like, let's talk about it. Let's have a follow-up. We're going to have a workshop. But thank you to all of you. Thank you for joining at home. Thank you, Dr. J. Thank you, Liz Carpenter. Thank all of you. Love to you. Stay in good health. Stay prosperous. Stay on your game, on your mark. And I will talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed the summit. And I love hearing your
Absolutely.
fabulous feedback. Do you have suggestions? Would you do something differently next time? Email me and let me know. I'm candy@ease.com, EEAZE.com. And if they want to get in touch with you, Dr. J, and you, Liz, how should they reach out? How can they find you?
For me, it's Dr. J at JeneaBKlingenberg.com. Yes, I have a name like Justin's. It's JeneaBKlingenberg.com, or you can go to the website, which is JeneaBKlingenberg.com.
Okay. And because your name is written on the screen, they can even see how to spell that. And Miss Liz Carpenter Poetry.
Yeah, Liz Carpenter Poetry on Facebook or Liz Carpenter Poetry on Instagram, because my website's down. I'm like, I went to it yesterday. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, no. The tech issues all week. I get it. But we can find you on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you all so much.
Bye.
Till next time, have a good one. Here's to your health. Bye.